Hey, what's up? GW coming to you live. Today is a somber day. Maybe I got the wording wrong. Today is the day that President Jimmy Carter is laid to rest, and that's why I'm home, and that's why a lot of your federal facilities are closed. But you guys already know that. I don't know much about Carter, but I know a lot more than the average person. I know he was a peanut farmer, and he was an all-around good dude. I don't want to go into detail. But a lot of people, they don't know who he even is. They didn't even know he was a president. But I really liked the guy from what I read. He was pretty cool. I think I did a book report on him whenever I was in eighth grade, and I remember reading a lot about him. Of course, that information has long since been lost in, the annals of the brain here. But, you know, I just wanted to take a minute and, say he was one of the longest living presidents, you guys. So that was crazy. I don't want to dwell too much on it because a lot will be speculated and said about it. So I just wanted to take a 5 minute moment and just, you know, address that real quick. It's not that it's not that I don't want to, talk about him. I just don't know much about him. I know he was a peanut farmer, and I know he was an all around very good dude. And like I said, I think I did a book report on him, or not a book report, a report on him in seventh or eighth grade. So I'm sorry that I don't have many facts about him. I do know his wife passed earlier, if not, I think last year or maybe the year before sometime. But that was more important to address than this stupid movie review. But this movie review that I'm about to give you, people are going to be biased, and I'm probably going to be looked at differently because I'm going to dive into one of the quote unquote worst movies from a director who's known as the worst movie director in history. So let me just address the elephant in the room and just tell you about a week or two ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, my wife actually bought me the Postal games on Steam, and if I've familiar with them, I've heard them. I've never really, got into them. I know that one was basically a game like Hatred, where you just eradicated the whole population, and the second one, I think I owned it at one point for our very first computer, but I didn't really understand it because if you played any of it, you were set tasks to do things during a day in the game. And when you did them, everything would happen, and I didn't realize that that was a script part of the game. So anyway, I decided to revisit the Postal series and the controversy surrounding it. And been playing the crap out of number two. I love two. I actually bought three. Yeah, I know, it was on sale. I know. But I wanted to get the collection. I got Postal 4 and Postal Brain Damaged also as well. In doing that, I know that Uwe Boll, I'm just going to let a minute sink in. He was known as the worst director in the world, and he directed a lot of video game pictures. Blood Rain, Alone in the Dark, Far Cry, just to name a few. I have some of his movies. I don't think they're the worst, but I wouldn't put them up against something Scorsese, did. However, that being said, so this morning I watched Postal, his wildly crazy video game adaptation, and this movie is not for everybody because once I started looking into this film, you know, he was out to offend as many people as he can. And if you've played Postal 2, then you guys kind of know that the humor you're getting into really lowbrow juvenile, adolescent, crass, giving mainstream society the finger type deal. Having only played half of 2, I'm almost done with it. I understand it. I look at it as satire. Um, I really enjoyed the tongue-in-cheek jokes and how absurd Uwe Boll makes this world look, and it's just, to me, it's a dumbed down imitation of life. And Actually, this movie is very, very fun, and it's not afraid to make fun of itself. It's not afraid to say, hey, look, this is how ridiculous we're going to get. And boy, do we ever get ridiculous in the plot. If you played number two, that's really all you would really have to do. If you like number two, I suggest checking this out. In fact, if you do play number two and do watch the movie, the main character, Zach Ward, who plays the Postal guy in this, actually does the voiceover lines on Postal 4. Now, the Postal series has not really been received that well. The first one garnered a lot of controversy and was almost pulled off the market. The second one did the same thing as well. In fact, Running with Scissors has a documentary coming out called Postal: The Legacy Foretold, if anyone's interested. I've seen clips on it, and it looks like something I would want to check out. Because few games in the history of gaming have had the FBI involved, senators attacking them, parents and up in arms. But, I watched this, and it's dumb fun. It's almost a parody of an action movie. And I thought it was, it was fun. It's not the stupidest thing, and it's not the dumbest movie I've ever seen. The dumbest movie I ever seen, guys, is The Gods Must Be Crazy, but I'm not even going to go into that. And they made two of those, guys. Two of those. Check those out. This is entertaining if you put your brain, out of your head for an hour and a half, and you watch this. It's dumb, mindless, stupid fun. And this movie is different than Uwe Boll's other films in the way that he tries to get something that's a little bit more not accessible. What's the word I'm looking for? He puts a little bit more work into this film than his previous other ones, because like Alone in the Dark, he threw elements in there that weren't even in the game. He in Blood Rain, the acting was wooden and cheesy. This is the same thing, but you expect it. It fits the narrative of the game perfectly. How many F-bombs are dropped? I lost count. How many people get shot? You lose count as well. But the one thing that I took away from this film is it's just a fun ride. Yes, it's a no-brain movie. Yes, probably people with $300 could make this. But the thing that ends up being the real fault of this movie is that it sets out to offend everybody and anything. It offends blacks, African Americans. It tries to offend, let me say. Tries to offend African Americans, Chinese, handicapped. You name it, everybody gets made fun of equally in this film. And to me, I don't get offended very easily. This movie was more like a satire of an action movie to me. Yes, the acting's overblown. Yes, the story is just straight ludicrous. But in the spirit of the game, it works. And at the end of the day, Postal is actually a pretty fun movie if you turn your brain off. Now, this movie has a little bit of a history, too. It saw its release in 12 theaters. That is probably why it is not that well received. Yes, it's not up there with, say, Taxi Driver or Death Wish. It's really not. But having just a tiny, small release window for 12 theaters, because the subject matter was almost too offending for some people. And I look at it, and it's in the same vein to me as, say, a Porky's crossed with a Hot Shots. And you get that. Very, very stupid movie. Even everything is ridiculous in this movie, and that's why it's a fun ride, because you can't even take it seriously. yes, there's a very controversial 9/11 joke in the beginning, but it's purely satire. It's not made to really offend you. Uh, it's a very fun movie, like I said, and I watched it, and I was expecting to turn this off in the first 10 minutes, to be honest with you. But it was a fun ride. I stuck through it the whole way through. Now, I did hear there's issues with the Blu ray and the 4K. The Blu ray edition has the extended version on it, which is 117 minutes long. It's the version I watched, so I don't know what they took out into the R rated version. It glitched up on me once. At the end, it froze. I heard sound. I turned my Blu ray player off, reloaded it, and played it, and it played fine. So maybe it was just a fingerprint or something. I don't know. This film's not for everybody, and it's probably not even for you. But at the end of the day, it's a fun movie to watch. And the funny thing is, if you know the games, or just starting to get into them, one of the creators of Postal, who heads up Running with Scissors, is in the movie. I'm not going to spoil his cameo. Vern Troyer's in the movie. Now, Vern Troyer, too, if you played number 2, you guys know Gary Coleman is in the video game. There's a mission where you have to get an autographed book signed by Gary Coleman. So you can do that a number of ways. One, you can stand in line and wait in the game, or you can just blast him, take the book, and run. And he was supposed to be in it, but I believe this movie was made after he passed away. Vern Troyer got up, and they did a nice little tie-in, so you really don't know Gary Coleman's even gone, unless you played the second one. Would I recommend this movie? If you played Postal 2 and Postal 4 and you like that juvenile sense of humor, I would say go for it. If you're looking for something to watch on a date, I would probably skip it. My wife would never watch it. She would think this is the stupidest thing in the world. Because a high body count and coarse language and a dumb plot is not enough to keep her interested. But the acting, I got to tell you, was really well done. It really was. There's just something about this movie. And what's really crazy is you could put yourself in his shoes. And this cat in this movie's having a very bad day. Now, I got to warn people, there is full frontal male nudity in this. There's also a couple of topless chicks, so it makes up for it. But as I was saying, this guy, you could put yourself in his shoes. He has a nagging wife. Nothing in his life goes right. He can't even go to the local unemployment office to get a job without a shootout breaking out. And he's just having one hell of a bad day in this movie. But it's comedic. And I think everybody has been there. Everybody can, identify with a day where nothing goes right. Not seriously, but a day where nothing goes right. And then you end up getting involved in some stupid harebrained scheme. And I think everybody can relate to that. And I think that's one of the charms of this movie. I think the other charm is that Uwe Boll set out to offend everybody, but to fans of the game and people who like lowbrow humor, who aren't easily offended. Because today, today's all about being PC. Like my company, my wife works in a company where you can't even say Merry Christmas because you offend people. You have to say Happy Holidays. Okay, I get that. But when I was growing up, it was Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Halloween, Happy Thanksgiving Day. Now, you can't even say those things. So this environment that this film was shot in, the tastefulness, the stupidity, you can't do that today. But I really like the movie, and I know some people are going to say, Greg, you set your standards pretty low, but I have seen all kinds of movies. And this one, I think, stood out because it was controversial, and I don't think it was given a fair shake in the theaters. And it's just dumb fun is what it is. It's dumb fun. It's like a video game came to life. Yes, it's crude, it's crass, it's immoral, but at the end of the day, I tell people, You know, like I told my buddy that the other day. I said, when someone says, you, do you end up in an emergency room? No, you don't. Words aren't going to hurt you. Movies aren't going to hurt you. They're not going to offend you. You might not like what you see, but you're not going to be on life support or have to go to the hospital afterward. Okay? But I do get that some people tolerance is a little bit different than others. I get that. All I can say is I enjoyed it, and I really think it was a cool movie. But I can't recommend this to everybody, but I would say check it out. If you're curious, check it out. It bombed in the theaters, and it is one of the worst reviewed movies on Rotten Tomatoes. However, again, I attribute that to not having a wide range theater release. Now, of course, it probably wouldn't have gotten Star Wars recognition. You know what I mean? And I know it wouldn't, but it would have had a better shot of being a little bit more notable and being more accessible to fans. As far as Uwe Boll goes, I think this is probably his best work. And I got done watching this. I ate breakfast. I played the game. I'm almost done with it. Like I said, I got 2 more days to go, in the game for Saturday and Sunday because I got the, DLC. And it fits. It fits perfectly into the world, of Postal. So, anyway, I say give it a shot if you're not easily offended. That's what I can say. And, I'm sure you guys will turn on the news later and hear a lot more about Jimmy Carter than I know. And I wish I knew more about him. But I know I did a report on him in 7th or 8th grade. And those years are like long gone, You remember stuff. You're like, oh yeah, I did that. And I didn't save any of my reports either. But, so we'll see. Also, there's another snowstorm coming up the pike. Not supposed to be bad as far as accumulation, but whiteout conditions are what really is a little bit treacherous. So anyway, that's my review, and next time I'll recap my Christmas and New Year's for you.